Pressing too many buttons at the start of that. How is everyone doing? Not a fantastic result, but we're going to go through it in some detail. Thanks for everyone who is live joining me to have a little chat about Arsenal versus Leeds in a weekend that could have gone a lot worse than it has. Could potentially get slightly worse, but still not the worst case scenario just yet. Fixtures over the weekend between West Ham and Everton have got games, and Southampton have got games against each other, so that'll influence probably what the weekend looks at. Love to know people's thoughts on the game today. How you felt it went. I think we should probably start at the very start and break this down with a very unusual team selection that I thought would either work really well for us or we could get absolutely battered. I don't actually think, even looking at the scoreline at the end of the game, I don't think that the system had any bearing on it all. I think this very much was a game few people expected us to get anything from, but I also think it was a game that individual errors are what has really cost Leeds getting anything from that game. There were some really good bits of the game. There were some frustrating parts of the game, and there were individual players and individual battles that just didn't go the way they could have gone with Leeds. And unfortunately, I think the occasion got to certain players a little bit again. But again, we'll talk about that in a bit more detail in a sec. Flight entry the scores that influenced Leeds. Bournemouth managed to get a 2-1 win over Fulham after being a goal down, which is frustrating. Crystal Palace nicked a win after being 1-1 down. They were 1 down at one point to Palace. To Leicester. Leicester were actually 1-0 up, and then 2-1. Crystal Palace get back to get a win, which helps them steady their drop a little bit. They've no wins in 6, and then they get a win today, which is huge for them in the relegation fight. But it does push Leicester very steeply into the bottom 3 of the table. Nottingham Forest and Wolverhampton Wanderers were 1-1 draw, which is kind of a perfect result for us down there. Looking for more of the same tomorrow. So we're looking at game-wise tomorrow. West Ham have got Southampton, and if you look at the table right now, West Ham have got 2 games in hand over everyone down there, and they've got 3 in hand over Wolves and Crystal Palace. But they are playing Southampton. West Ham are at home. You're hoping again for either a win there would be a good result. If Southampton got a win, draw would be a good result. Sorry, if Southampton got a win, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world because it put them 26 points level with us, but they would be behind us on goal difference. Our goal difference is now gone to -12, which means West Ham, Leicester have a better goal difference than us, which they didn't have coming into the weekend. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. And then you've got Everton playing Spurs on Monday. Everton at home in that game. And will Spurs get a bounce from Conte going? Will things be settled down? Will the players try and prove Conte wrong and get a result there? I don't know. And let's have a quick look at the chat, see who's here. Kimberly's here. Good evening, Kimberly. Glad the game is behind us. Looking forward to winning against Crystal Palace. Yeah, Forest first. But yeah, Jay, good evening, mate. How's things? John Burke, hi, Jerry. No injuries, couple of yellows. Cine got 65 good minutes. Yes, Rudder was good when he came on. We talk about him. I thought he was excellent when he came on. Disappointed with the result. I thought we started well. We did. I agree with you on that, Jay, as well. Declan Murphy wasn't expecting anything from the game, but didn't expect a hammering. I didn't feel like a hammering. I know the middle bit did, but I don't think the game itself felt like a hammering. Easy to go down after a heavy defeat, but lots of positives. Again, first half, arguably, we had the better of it. Soft pen opened the door. Tuesday is the game. It is indeed. And Nige mistakes cost us. Correct. Yeah, I'd agree. I think everyone's in the same boat here. You're not expecting a huge amount from this game, but at the same time, when you see an individual errors that cost us, I thought we'd go with a back 5. I was watching it on Premier Sports, and Paul Robinson, the Leeds United positive man that he is, didn't expect an awful lot from Leeds. Was actually pretty critical of Garcia's team sheet, expecting him to play a back 5, which he didn't. Robinson had to change his opinion at halftime and say that actually Leeds tried to have a strong game plan, tried to be adventurous when they could be. You looked at it took me 7 minutes to figure out the shape of the lineup. Was Christensen playing in the back 3? Was Ayling playing in the back 3? Was Christensen playing on the right? Who was in midfield at all? No striker, which went to false 9. Was that Aronson, Somerville, Harrison, who was playing the front 9? And then at times when we had the ball in the first half, it looked like a 4-3-3, and it looked like Leeds were trying to break with pace wide. And for half an hour of the game, I thought we looked really, really good. I thought we were super organized, pretty calm at the back, very well structured. We could have scored inside the first 10 seconds. Christensen's just on a run of form at the moment in front of goal. But then Arsenal also could have scored from a breakaway in the first half. And that kind of became the run of the game, is if Arsenal could counterattack when Leeds did commit players forward, they could pick Leeds off. And that seemed what they were looking to try and do. But I mean, notes in front of me, I wrote down first 25 minutes. I thought Leeds were very well organised, very, very good. The only chance Arsenal had was Jesus managed to get on the blind side of Stroke, who I don't know if it was great today. I don't know how I feel about Stroke today. Was he good or was he out of the game at all? I just can't figure that one out for myself. But anyway, with over his head, and Firpo's not tucked in close enough as well, and Jesus gets a header over the crossbar, which got away with it. We got away with it at that stage. And then you get into the middle of the half and you're looking at 29 minutes, Leeds have a chance. Lovely work to play. Cree gets in behind and he's got the goal to shoot at to get the bend around Ramsdale. And he just kind of hits it a bit flat without power and it kind of dribbles into the body of Ramsdale, which was unfortunate. That's a massive chance and it's a good goal scoring chance. I think the XG was reasonably high on that. And then you have 30 minutes, Leeds get another chance. Ayling does really good work on the right-hand side, gives the ball to Cree, again, does really good work, but then he passes it slightly too wide for Harrison coming around the outside of him, and the shot is on target, but didn't really trouble Ramsdale. And then a minute later, the penalty happens, and for me, this is where the entire game shifted. I have got a note that I wrote down at 25 minutes, Leeds' defense is starting to look a little bit panicky. It's starting to look a little bit mistake prone. Cock had just slipped trying to kick a ball. And it was at that point I kind of thought, the shades of the old Leeds backline starting to seep in here. The calmness is gone. The organization is gone. We started to get a little impatient with just holding our shape, which I'm sure Garcia wants us to do. And then the penalty happens. And there's a couple of bits on this. Christensen makes enough contact with Jesus for Jesus to go down and get a penalty. And it would have been a penalty if he'd gone down. But he doesn't go down. He goes again. And then after seeing one player commit himself, Ayling then decides he's going to slide on the ground in your penalty area, where you're just always told, stay on your feet, hold your ground, make yourself as big as you can, hands behind your back, make your chest out, try and just limit options. And he doesn't. He commits to the ground. And for me, it is a penalty, and it's a penalty for one reason. Not because of the way that Jesus falls, but Ayling's motion, the foot is in the air, and that sets Jesus' knee. Ayling brings it down onto the knee. It's only a glance, but it's enough downward direction to say that the foot moved towards the player to impede the player. When you do something like that, you're giving the referee a decision to make. And once the referee made the decision, VAR weren't going to overturn that. It's a silly penalty to give away, and they score a soft goal from it. And it's really disappointing. And from that point on, I think Bill started to struggle. I love Bill, and I said this in a tweet as well. I really like Bill, and I think there is still a place for him in the Leeds team. It's possibly not against big teams. We said last night on the preview that if Arsenal were going to have any joy against Leeds, it was going to be down our right-hand side of the pitch, whether it was Cree not tracking back or Ayling one-on-one with Martinelli. And a lot of people said it last night, and I said it as well, about having Christensen maybe do what he did against Martinelli earlier this season at the right-back position. But we didn't get to see that. And Bill just started to look a little bit shaky at that point then. He wasn't standing up anymore. He kept committing, stepping into tackles when he shouldn't have been. He was passing, got a bit shaky. His touch got a bit shaky. At that point at halftime, 1-0 down, I would have taken Bill out of the game. I know it means the system has changed. Maybe bring Cooper in, put Rasmus down. You're going to have to bring a midfielder and maybe McKennie. But at that point, I thought a change needed to be made. Second half starts then. Actually, before we get to second half, I have a quick chat on the comments because there's a couple of comments coming in. It's great to see so many people here. Where are we here? There we go. Let's catch up. So Nipper to be expected. Let's move on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Jay, agree with Jay. Best team on the bench. Sure, I have to do the start. He has to be more consistent when he plays because he hasn't been consistent enough. And just players ahead of him. There are players. Being realistic, there's players ahead of him. This isn't the time of the season to go gambling and trying players. He cost 30 million, but not for today, not for tomorrow, for long term. I think we just need to be careful with this as well. But we get into this situation when we lose games and we're doing poorly, where someone else on Twitter told me today, like, Cody Drama came up again. You're like, can we have this conversation again about Cody Drama? He's at Luton. 2 managers haven't played him. Can we just wait till he gets back in the summer and see how he is? But we jump straight away to the kids. And I just, Rudder's just gone 20. He's done okay. He shows moments. We'll talk because he was very good when he came on. And maybe that's what he needs to do, Steve. But I think he needs to do more, and that consistently when he gets on. I think next season you'll probably see an awful lot more from him. But it's unfortunately, I don't think Rudder was the player for now. I think he was the player for next year, and Leeds missed it by not buying a player for now. Just personal opinions. But he was better, Steve, when he came on. Mark, I was worried about our goal difference if we got B heavy. So it's only 3. Could have been worse. Disappointed, but not surprised. Yeah, that seems to be the feeling of the day. Our 4 goals we conceded, I think we could have stopped 3 of them. I agree with that as well. Very positive first half. Momentum of the game swung on a soft decision. Soft decision, but a decision Bill gave the referee to make, and that's my issue with it. I think our passing is better. It was. I would also agree with that. A few nice moments from Rudder. Very nice moments from Rudder. Yeah. Aiden made the ref's job easy. Correct. Yeah. John, sooner the better. We're relegated. Jer put all their misery. I mean, we've been shocking for 2 seasons. We've got to get better at some point, John. I don't want to see us back in the Championship. I don't think you fancy a Tuesday night away at Luton, do you? They could bypass us. They could go into the Premier League. You would know. I thought Aronson played well today as well. Yeah. Hi, Alison. Didn't think we'd get anything. No, we didn't. Most of us didn't think we'd get anything from that. I think the opponent's team. Sorry, yes, starting to see that. That's starting to be obvious. It's a shame about other results today, but it could have gone worse. We did get a couple that went their way. Best game Aaronson's played for a start of the month. Yeah, another good one. Yeah, I agree with that. Mr. Beats, J Beats. Declan Forrest and Barn picking up points. Massive game against Forrest. We need to keep our nerve. I hope Vauban and Nanto are back. Vauban's Nanto's wearing a boot at the moment, which is never as bad as it looks because it's just a protective case and not a cast. But I think he's probably further away than Vauban is. But yeah, we need them back big time. Afternoon, Mark. Do you think we'll be fine still? 3 home games and a trot. Yeah. I hope so. Hope that was the plan. Back 5 and Coops couldn't even start today. Well, Coops said it himself. He knows he's not going to start as many games as he used to. He knows he's on the turn with his career, so there's no issue with that. Bit of self-awareness from Bill. It's great to see it as well. And still doing what he does really well. With, leading motivates the team off the pitch when he's there, and does a job when he comes on as well. Sam was always a write-off. Yes, move on. Ferran Garcia is not our future. Far too negative. I can see where you're coming from, Paul. I think he's more practical than negative. I think it's game by game, seeing what we've got. This team needs to be strengthened. Our back line specifically needs an overhaul in the summer, as well as Robin Koch has played with Max Forward beside him. We need better players all across that back four who are calmer all the time. And we need better strength and depth as well. We don't have that right now. That's the next 2 games of 6-pointers. They are. Luke had a proper game, but just didn't think he'd leave on Tuesday after. Yeah. Ailing poor recruitment left us in the mud. Rasmus seems to play better, but not his position. Cody out alone. Yeah. Well, Cody can stay out alone until he comes back. As I said before, Marsh didn't pick him and Bielsa didn't pick him. Bielsa got everything so right at Leeds. Why didn't he pick Cody Drama? Can't pick and choose what Bielsa was right about, unfortunately, with a lot of people. I don't think Cody Drama was the answer this season, and he didn't do enough when he got his chances to make himself. He had opportunities, but hopefully he comes back in the summer and can prove a point and get back into the team and make that position his own, because it's there to be taken if he can get back. Ain't too worried about the league leaders. Yeah. I also agree with that. It could have been worse. Summer was awesome. Could have been worse. Summer was awesome. On to Tuesday, 3 points apiece. Yeah. Arsenal are a top team. They are. That's important to say. And Bandy, surprisingly, Rudder made a difference. He did. I thought he did. And Mike, sorry, take your time, mate. Take it. No rush at all. My heart was wrong. Yeah, look, I was a bit of me thought we might nick something from the game, but again, with better structure than the Garcia we have. Correct. I agree with all of that. Drama is out on loan. It'll do it, not Premier quality. Neither is Duffy. Not yet. I still do believe that they will be. So pause it there, and we'll get back into the second half. Talk about this now. Second half was where you wanted to see a reaction. As I said, I would have liked to see a couple of changes at halftime just to unbalance Arsenal so they weren't used to what we were doing. They adapted very quick. It took Arsenal about 20 minutes to adapt to how Leeds that actually shaped up. You couldn't have predicted the lineup. So, Arsenal were on the back foot as well. And then you look at the start, I've got 47 minutes, 2 goals inside the first 10 minutes. Martinelli gets past Bill for me on his side. Way too easy. Bill goes side on to tackle him, which you're not supposed to do. Get your body in front of him. It's physics. He can't run through you. If you make yourself big, he has to run into you. Worst case scenario, it's an indirect free kick. And you can deal with that, but it's too easy. But I'm not going to put the second goal blame all on Bill, because once Bill makes that mistake, there are an entire backline and midfielder who can stop that goal from going in. And he doesn't. What happens is ball gets smashed across the box. It goes past Koch. It goes past Stroke, who seems to pull out away the ball. He does this. And the ball goes through the gap. And then at the back post, you find that Jack Harrison hasn't tracked Ben White back. So I'm not pointing the finger at any single one of those players for the second goal, but you've got Ailing has a chance to stop that goal from happening. Robin Koch has a chance to stop that goal from happening by attacking the ball, and he doesn't. Stroke has a chance of stopping that by just making himself big and stand on his ground, letting the ball hit his chest and go into Melia's hands. He doesn't do that. And Jack Harrison has a chance to stop that ball from going in by tracking Ben White, and he doesn't do that. There's 4 errors that lead to that goal. And that's my issue with this game, was that the back four started to do the things that we did under Jesse Marsh. And at times when we got beaten by the bigger sides with Bielsa, it was the same thing as well. We were too open, too easy to get through us, too easy to put balls in. And that was the issue. They are preventable goals. And that's what bothered me about today. You look at 54 minutes and Trossard gets in. Again, it's between 2 center halves and he just flicks himself in. At that point, you're hoping that you just push him out to the corner flag. Just make your body big again. Get close to him. Don't let him turn you. Keep him facing away from the goal. Push him out to the sideline. And he gets turned too easily and he pulls the ball back. And nobody is tracking Jesus and nobody steps out to meet the ball. And it's the first time we've seen a pullback goal under Garcia. And again, I think it's because players made mistakes. Players didn't do the jobs they were supposed to be doing in that position. So that's unfortunate. Then we have a chance. Aronson does really, really well on the right-hand side. Thought he overran the ball, but he fights really well and gets it back. Great ball in. Christensen with his left foot puts it over. So you're thinking, okay, it's 3-1, but there's 3-0, but there's chances again. We have had chances, so maybe one's coming. Then we score in 76th minute. Rutter does brilliantly on the left-hand side. Lovely bit of skill down the line. Gives it to Harrison. Good pullback from Harrison. And Christensen, 2 goals in 2 games. It's his goal because the shot was on target. It takes a slight deflection and goes left. You're hoping we can build. We've been better for that 10-minute spell. Build on this. And then 84-minute, for me, it's another mistake. Odegaard's cross comes in. Nobody shuts down the cross. It's too easy putting the ball into the box. And then you get the centre halves are all the way across, so probably too wide. And what had been happening during the game was Christensen was dropping in and filling that gap, which was working quite well at times. He doesn't get back in quick enough. Bill is too wide, and Xhaka gets a free header. Again, somebody take accountability and mark the player, and the goal doesn't happen. Now, I'm probably being too critical of the goals because they are a brilliant team who have quality and depth, who have starting 11, are patient, move the ball, consistently move the ball around the park, don't settle in easily, so it's a really good Arsenal team. Everything I'm saying here should be caveated with Arsenal are a brilliant side. But I do think there's options there to prevent that. And the key thing for me, what was missing today, was Max Verber. I think the things that we've seen him bring to the Leeds team, his organization skills, his communication skills, his organization of the back line has been excellent for Leeds. And I think today we saw when he wasn't there and inexperienced player like Stroke was in there, it doesn't work as well. And even Robin Cog looks a bit shakier on the ball. He slipped twice in the first half, and it's those kind of ones, I think. But I think if you look at the whole game, I'd like to know people's thoughts on this because I can't figure this one out. There's 2 players that I can't decide how they played. Pascal Stroke, I don't know if he had a decent game or a bad game. I can't tell if his positioning is the cause for some of the goals. I can't tell. I've looked and I can't. I can't figure it out. And he kind of seemed to be on the periphery of the game. And then Christensen as well. He just scored a goal and he played in midfield. And again, I'm thinking, did he have a good game in there? Because he was very involved in the game. He had 3 good chances in the game, which is more than we can say for most of our midfielders getting the match. He got forward. He linked up well. He defended well at times. But again, at times I kind of thought, well, maybe it's the lack of an out-and-out central midfielder, and that's cost us at times, especially those crosses coming in from Xhaka and the runs. Did he have a good game? Did they have a good game? I'd love to know. I would love to know what you guys think of this. So we'll go back up a little bit and we'll have a quick chat again. I'm trying to find out where we stopped. A ton of comments coming in. Jesus, loads of these here. I may have gone past that. Yeah, I've gone past that. Talk amongst yourselves. I've gone back too far. I've gone way back too far. There we go, Sam. Nice. There we go. So what have we got? Led Zepp, it would have been nice to get a point, but Tuesday's a bigger game. It is. We'll talk about all that in a sec. Next 2 games are must wins. The season's over. I agree. Could Javi have played Rutter up front to start today instead of Cini? I think it was important to get Cini minutes, and that's one of the positives, I think, from the game that he got through an hour. I wouldn't have started Rutter based on form. I don't think we can look at, in hindsight, look at a team, look at Rutter played when he came on and then say, well, he should have started then because he played well when he came on. That you can't pick a team like that. You can't predict what player is going to do, and he hasn't been good enough when he has played. There's moments in him. This is probably the best he's played against a good side, and this is really encouraging for people who think that Rutter was a waste of money. This is encouraging to see with Rutter as well. I think there's a player in there long term. I have a little chat. There you go. First half, okay, but not for rating, correct. Yeah, we do have a tendency of overrating our youngsters a little bit like Drama. We've done it forever. I keep bringing up Don Polion as the example. I remember when Leeds sold him, there was an uproar from a section of the fans who thought we were making a huge mistake. This guy was the future of the club. Now he popped up recently with a goal for somebody, but I think he's playing with National League, is he? Or League 1 or League 2. So, yeah, we can do that. You do have a chat. That's grand. Declan Murphy need minimum 4 points from the next 2. I think we need 6. You can understand the rate or overrate players if they've not had regular starts, but that's true as well. But we don't see them in training. The manager trains them every single day of the week, and if the manager's not seeing the performance in training, who doesn't think they're better than what he's starting with, you've got to go with the manager on it. Need to give Rasmus a chance at right wing, at wing back. Yeah, I think you could. We said this at the start of the season, especially on the Jesse. We said this: 3 at the back and Raz as the wing back. Same with Firpo. I think they'd be excellent there, 2 of them. Moving down. With the loss, I'm not so sad because I was expecting it today, but it happens Tuesday. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Yep. No, it wasn't. I agree with that as well. It wasn't going to define the season. I still think Rasmus will surprise us. I think he's starting to find his feet in the Premier League. Learn to throw a ball in. That would be great. Watching Cassini, I didn't think he was in the game a lot. I thought he was pretty much on the periphery of the game. I thought he just got around the pitch and he did his defensive work off the ball quite well. Cutting past the lanes, getting across the pitch. I thought he was fine at that. The most important thing for me was the fact that he got 60 minutes under his belt and didn't hurt himself in the process. That's huge. That will be a big 60 minutes coming into other games because now he can start to believe he can push it. Problem with consistent hamstring injuries is that you're afraid to push them in case it goes again. So he needs to know he can get through a game without an injury, and I think that'll help him there as well. I've got Pascal looked lost. Thanks. Well, that's okay. I'm not seeing things. I don't think. Have to stop Barry Gibbs, White, and Boris Johnson Tuesday night. Yeah, we do. Yeah, that's a fair show. That's system, and that's why I think Fairbo's done particularly well under the new system. He's not been asked to go forward as often as he is. Beats, he honestly played pretty well in my opinion. I see Rasmus as a wing back outside 3. Yeah, again, we're all in agreement on that one. That error will really stand the sinister. I agree. And if this game was a write-off, and if weren't expecting anything from it, then this is the right game to get those minutes in. There's not a huge ride on it, and it will hopefully then benefit us. Sinister seemed to get an early knock. Yeah, I saw him on the ground really early, and I was like, oh, please, no, not again. But he did. He finished at the game, and that's good to see. Sinister's actually a pretty strong guy. Yes, he is, and he had some moments as well. Could be still a hugely important player for us in the next couple of games. It's in our hands. It is in our hands. Anything should retire. That's harsh. He still has a role to play at Leeds, and especially in around it. Again, I keep saying this about people. Don't be in a rush to get people out of the club. We did it. We did it with Alioski. Oh, we bought a left back. Let's sell Alioski. You need players and positions. You need competition. And there's going to be young players playing that role. If it is Cody Drama coming in, he's going to need an experienced head like Ailing behind him who can tell him what to do, who can help him when he's going through bad spells. These people are important. Don't get rid of the older players out of the club so quickly. Don't be dismissive of them. They have a role to play. Maybe it's not in the big games anymore. And it probably isn't. You're probably 100% right with that. But I still think there's a place for these players in this team when they need it. I'm nervous about Forest. We're going to be, aren't we? We're all going to be a little bit nervous for the next couple of games because they're so big. The season rests at this point now. But at least we're not going into the last 2 games saying that the season rests on this. If we don't pick up any points in April, we're probably down before we even get to May, So if we can get April right, then we can maybe relax a little bit in May. And so it's great to see that our season hinge in the next 4 games, probably 5 games, more so than the last 3. Personally, I don't think Luke's poor game today warrants to find some. Yes, I agree. It's an obvious conversation though. One day we'll play with 2 strikers. We'll all rejoice. I want us to play 3-5-2 really bad. We don't know what system Javi's going to play long term with Leeds because he hasn't had a summer to work with the team. He hasn't had a longer period to put his stamp on this. And what I can say is that, and again, if you look at for the first 30 minutes, we were so well organized in the game. We did everything pretty much on the money, and we managed to create 3 or 4 chances. One of the biggest criticisms of Leeds under Jesse Marsh and for most of the season is Leeds can do 2 things. They can either go back to the wall and defend and get a point if they have to, or they can attack and go try and win the game, but they will concede a ton of goals. And for the first half an hour, we were actually defending really, really well as a block and making chances. Chris Somerville has a great chance to score. He scores that first goal, and he probably should. It's a different game. Christensen gets one across early on. If that's palmed down and someone taps it in, or if a good man to sneak in, that's a different game. We can't say we didn't have chances before Arsenal scored. We did, and they were good chances. But you need to be able to do both things, and Leeds this season just haven't been able to defend and attack in equal measure to get positive results out of it. So that's been the problem. But what I will say is, for me, if we look at the players, for me, I thought Chris Somerville had a pretty good game defensively and attacking, and I've been critical of his defensive work, and he did pretty well today defensively. I thought Jack was okay, especially on the ball. He held it up when he had to. He gave us options. His delivery was really good. He put a whipper of a cross in very late in the second half on his left foot from the end line that shot across the goal, and Bamford was there, and Bamford looked around at him to complain about it. I think Rodrigo, one of them turned around to complain about the cross. It was a brilliant cross, a fantastic hit, a proper pace. Just nobody got on the end of it, which was a shame. So I thought Jackie was okay. For me, I thought Mark Rocket was the best player we had in the park. And I watched an awful lot of what he does off the ball. I made a point today of watching Rocket off the ball to see what we get from him from a defensive perspective. And that's the midfield for. He just fills the gaps across the gaps in the line. Just does this the whole time. He fills the gaps really well. He stops attacks from happening before they ever happen by just his positioning. And I thought his work rate off the ball was huge. I know people criticize managers and that who talk about on the ball, off the ball stuff. But I thought if you looked at Mark Rocket today off the ball, his positioning limited options for Arsenal going forward, especially the first half an hour. The mistake changes the whole game then, but he was excellent for us. And even going forward, getting on the end of stuff and linking up, he had a lovely link up play in the second half as well. Like we got a chance from him as well. So for me, I thought Rocket's probably the best game he's played for Leeds, all up as a defensive and an attacking player. I thought he was excellent. And as I said, I can't decide on Christensen if he was really, really good today or if he wasn't good at all and just managed to score a goal and was just around the place. But there were some interesting ones there and they showed good flexibility. The one that stood out, and a couple of people have already said it, but Jorginho Rudder off the bench is probably the best he's played in the Premier League game. He looked like that against Accrington Stanley because he should look like that against Accrington Stanley. But that's the first game where he's come on the pitch off the bench against the top side in the Premier League and looked really, really good. He did kind of change the game for us for a little bit. He did take a lot of pressure off the back line. He did work really well. His touch, close control is excellent. I think it's going to be something to keep an eye on going forward. But he's starting to find his feet. He's starting to get more comfortable. He's playing that wider area, not the central area. And I think I said this before, but I remember Wenger doing this with Henry when he brought him in first. He put him out on the wing. And then he brought him in central once he kind of got used to the standard of the league, going one-on-one with people. I keep doing this for one-on-ones. And if you look at what we did with Walcott as well, didn't work as well with Walcott, but did something similar with him as well. And I think that's what you're seeing with Jorginho. So yeah, I thought he was really, really good when he came off the bench. Rodrigo didn't really have an impact. We weren't getting the ball forward at that stage. But as I said, positives going into finishing today. Now there are potentially 2 results that could change everything over the weekend, but right now we're not in the bottom 3. Now, if West Ham win tomorrow and Everton win on Monday, we are in the bottom 3. But the gaps still aren't huge. And as we said, we've got some massive, massive games. If we look at the table, real quick, we'll have a look at the table. This used to work real quick. Now it's real slow. There we go. Yeah, if we look at the table as it is, West Ham have 2 games in hand, which is going to be important. One of them is tomorrow, which put them on 27. But they are playing Southampton. So you get the bottom 2 against each other tomorrow. A perfect result for us is a draw for both teams, which would be great. That puts the boat on 24 and 25 points, keeps us above them. 2-point gap as well. And then you have Everton playing Spurs. Ideally, they get nothing from that game. And it stays as is. We have the game in hand, as is everybody, over Wolverhampton Wanderers and Crystal Palace. A win in that game puts us on 29, which was us right back behind Palace and above Wolves, assuming we win the game in hand against Wolves. So it's not the worst it could have been today. And as we all said, we weren't expecting to get anything from this game. The big one for me was Bournemouth not being... Fulham seemed to have just imploded on themselves after what happened against Manchester United last week. But yeah, there's some interesting ones down there. But this is the game to watch tomorrow and then Everton on Monday. We'll see where we are. If we look at the next set of fixtures for us, though, going into the game, we talked about it already. This is out of the way now. We can move on from this. These 2 are huge, 2 home games here. And Liverpool are beatable right now. Liverpool are not brilliant right now. How adventurous we get it, I decide to be against Liverpool and their heavy is going to be interesting to see. But these 2 are huge. 6 points for me in these 2 could go an awful long way to relaxing everybody and making it safer. Again, Liverpool is not a must win for me. Draw, even if we lose that, it's not the worst one in the world for me. But then you've got Fulham away and Leicester. We need to do better against Fulham than we did at the start of the season. A point there for me would be a decent result. 3 points against Leicester and try and beat Bournemouth away. At that point, you're looking at maybe 3, 6, 9, 12 points, which would put us on what? If you had 12 to that, 28, 38 points. You could be safe at that stage. You could be. You don't want to go into these games here needing to win matches because that one we could get something from. Man City and Spurs, I don't know. I just don't fancy us against Spurs ever. So yeah, that's the lay of the land. That's where we are right now. We'll have a quick wrap up on the chat before we go. I'm going back to my sitting here. Tyler. Tough game, lads. Thought we were well in it until the penalty. Yeah, I agree. I think if you get Vobert and Nanto back, you'll stay. Oh, this Tyler, not a Leeds fan. That's okay, Tyler. An Arsenal fan, possibly, yeah. Yeah, Vobert for me is bigger than Nanto. I think we've got enough attacking stuff to maybe get away with not having Nanto. Be better with him, but I think Vobert's the big one for me. We are scoring goals. A few weeks ago, yeah, that's true. And a tough game. It's a tough game. Today's results weren't too bad, no, but the next 2 days are going to be big for us as well. We are relying on some results to go our way. Palace is a big favour, possibly. I did think Palace would actually drop into the bottom 3 at one point. Might still happen. A bit early for this, but who up front for Forest? Bam, Rodrigo, Rutter, or combination? I would like to see us go with Bamford and Rodrigo for that game. Go to 2. But I think if I'm picking one, I'd go with Rodrigo. If you assess the whole season defensively and removed individual mistakes, we probably sat in 9th. No, that is a really good point, Glenn, and that's been the problem. This is where it comes back to I say this pretty regularly now, and this is what I say about going into the summer. There's a lot of players in this team we think are good, but maybe they're not as good as we think they are, right? Maybe they're okay. They're Premier League level, but maybe they're bottom half Premier League level. They probably are. And that's where I think an overhaul in certain areas, especially the back line, completely needs to happen in the summer, because good players make fewer mistakes. And teams with more poor players or less good players, those teams make more errors. Leeds season this year has been individual error after individual error after individual error. And the teams that make the least amount of errors win games. And we make too many of them, to give ourselves a chance. So we haven't given ourselves a fighting chance this year with the individual errors. It's a really good point, Glenn. But going forward, you need to bring in players who are not mistake prone. People like Fowler, he makes the odd one in a game, maybe, but is pretty consistent throughout the rest of the game. Bill's had a couple today. Christensen had a couple today. Strokes had a poor enough game. Then left back Verbo, pretty much anonymous on the left-hand side, but Jackie gives them that cover, so they were fine. But there's still too many errors in your last line of defense. And Mellier's been great for us, but he is young, and young players make mistakes as well. So yeah, it's a good point, Glenn. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Jer, how do you rate Garcia this match? I don't have an issue with him at all. I think this system was bold. I think it was a very interesting system to come up with. I don't think any of us would pick that team. I don't think any of us would pick that formation. And again, up until a silly mistake, you probably go in at halftime 0-0, which is a good result at home. I get away to Arsenal. So I don't think it's Garcia's mistakes today. I don't think the system cost us. If anything, I think the system was set up to give us opportunities to win the game. And again, before Arsenal scored, we had 2 good chances. We should have scored at least one of them. So I don't blame him for that. Been an interesting one. I think Rudder will do better off a striker, and I think Willie Gnonto will go in central as well, but again, a second striker. Garcia has talked about that as well. Villa won up against Chelsea. Villa are safe. Villa are flying. Chelsea are in trouble. Graham Potter could be gone. It's hard. 125 watching, 46 likes. Smash like, well, appreciate that. You can if you like it. Your show is good. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Michael Ailing has been poor past few games. He's had a couple of good games and a couple of bad games. I don't think all the bad games have been his fault. I think sometimes he gets exposed. He got back to the Chelsea game when he's dealing with a fullback overlapping him. That means the winger's not doing their job, and I think he hasn't been covered in glory there either. But today were mistakes. Bamford needs to stop moaning. Yes, he does, and he's doing it all year. And get on with the game. I agree with that. I feel he played adequately enough given the force and say maybe. Those are Rock's best performances. Yeah, McKennie has been good, but realistically, we need a bit more from both. For me, the two of them are quite good together. I did like what I saw against Wolves with them for most of that game. Leicester lost, draw, loss. We pick up a win during the week. Their form looks a lot worse than ours. If we can't beat Forest and Palace, we deserve to go down. It's possibly a very straight, direct statement, Mike, and you're probably correct. Leicester falling like a stone. Some team always explodes the back end of a season. Let's hope it's not us. Here we go again, the relegation battle, 2 seasons in a row. My nerves can't take it. Declan, I think we've been in a relegation battle since Christmas. Going to the World Cup break, I think we all kind of knew we were in it. So, need not to lose at home. Vitally important that we win our home games. Home games could keep us up. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 home games left. You win your home games, you stay up. Could come down to West Ham game. I hope not. God, Michael, I hope not. West Ham draw and Everton to lose. Yeah, not great. I feel the board has gone as far as they can. I agree with that statement as well. I'm very grateful for what the board have done for Leeds to get us back to where we are, because that's, I am critical of them as well. But again, to try and stay balanced, they've done a lot right and a lot wrong, but they've done a lot better than the previous boards. So I'll be always be very grateful to Rads, Kinnear, and Orta for getting us back to where we are. I'm critical at times of how some of the antics and behavior online and the behavior in the boxes, but that's just me. Get Rudder out the gutter. Let me start. Love the post match. With that, thanks, Kimberly. I'll try and keep them going. I wasn't going to do one this weekend, but I'll try and keep them going. I have the Samaritans on speed dial. Yeah, my dad used to always refer to himself as a long-suffering Leeds fan. Never a Leeds fan, a long-suffering Leeds fan. We're having our moments now. Folks, that's going to pretty much be it for me. Last big comment. Gaz, first 20 minutes, 3 chances. Those chances make a game in our favour, but soon as Arsenal score, that's it. Got to take your chances when they come up in a game. It's the same at every single level of football. You get a chance, you got to take it. If you don't take it, you give the opposition a chance to get back into the game. And, Arsenal's a really good side. It's a really good side. So I think if you look at it, missing Volber today was probably the biggest loss of today. We're not in the bottom 3 just yet. Sinisterra got 60 minutes under his belt. Rodrigo got a half an hour under his belt. Bamford got some minutes under his belt. Cooper got some minutes under his belt. All very positive stuff. Rudder coming off the bench and doing really well is another big positive. We do need to get Vober back. For me, he is the gel that keeps us up. If Vober's not playing, I don't rely on our backline to not make mistakes when he's not there. And today they made too many. And I think we need to make sure that we don't do that going forwards. So that's the one for me. There is some positive in the game. And let's think from this perspective. No one expected to get anything from this game, and we didn't. So what can we take out of the game that's positive? There's a lot there. We've got a manager who adapts his styles depending on the opposition he's playing. I like that. I don't blame his system today for getting anything wrong. In fact, he was probably a lot braver than we were against the likes of Southampton or against the likes of Brighton. So there was a lot of good stuff in that. You know, despite the scoreline, they're a very clinical team who take chances when they score half chances that most teams don't score. So you're probably looking at the next champions of the league. So unless Man City can go on a hell of a run between now and the end of the season, Arsenal not mess up, you know, you're losing 4-1 away to the league leaders and a good side who've lost 3 games all season. So, you know, a bit of realism there from me and from everybody. We could be better. Watkins is flying from. Yes, he is. He really is. Great job. Thanks very much, Steve. I appreciate that. Take a chance. It's a different game. Exactly. Same in every game. Chewell, thanks. No problem, Michael. Have a good one. There's no crack in being safe in the table. No, my brother's an Aston Villa fan. I keep saying to him, must be boring being a Villa fan. Nothing ever happens. Not so much the last couple of years, but yeah. Anyway, folks, that's going to be it. I'm going to say goodbye. Massive thanks for joining me for the last half an hour, and I'll be back on Monday morning with the news. I think we're doing the last word tomorrow night on Joe's show. Check that out tomorrow, 10 p.m. tomorrow night, where we'll all be on having a chat about this group therapy session tomorrow night. So enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Don't be too down about this. Some good things to come out of this, and we'll move on, and fingers crossed we'll get a good result on Tuesday night away at Forest. Sorry, home to Forest on Tuesday night. I said away to Forest, at home on Tuesday night, and then Palace on Sunday, and fingers crossed we're in a much better position then. Have a great remainder of your weekend. I'll see you Monday.